the key question here is, so this last part here, 1 through 4 is really just setting up fairly standardized entry and exit orders, right? Yeah, so setting up order A, order A and B, and then order C and order D, and then we get down to a conditional statement here, right? So after order set C has its profit target hit, then we want to take the stop loss for order set D and convert it into a trailing, right, 3 ATR trailing stop loss, right? So that's really the key here, is monitoring when the profit target for C is hit, and then have the stop loss for the last stop loss remaining, convert that stop loss into a trailing stop loss, right? So let's see here. Let me clear everything out there. And we'll just kind of go through and build all this pretty quickly here. All right, so it looks like this is going to trade stocks there. So we're doing 100 shares. All right, I don't see an entry order type, so we'll just go with a market entry order there to get things started. All right, so the number of shares, that's this blue box at the very top. We'll put 100 in there. There we go. So the first two, actually, so A and B, is going to be a 50 tick profit and a 10 tick stop loss. All right, so the profit will be 50. So I'm going to use the 10 tick one here, and then we'll open this up and go to the, make sure you're on the options tab. So if you noticed, it remembered that I was last on the trailing actions tab here. So just keep that in mind. If you don't recognize this, then that means you're on the wrong tab. So we're going to switch over to the options tab. And then in the initial placement, right, we can see it's a 10 tick profit target. So we'll open this up, plug in 50 down there. There we go. And again, remember, for short trades, right, everything is automatically reversed. So we put in -50 for you automatically. So, all right, that's our profit. And then the stop loss is just a 10 tick. So we can just use the 10 tick fixed and we're done. So nothing needs to be adjusted there. All right, so A and B are going to be the same. So what we'll do is go down to the copy from, and we'll make a copy of A. So there we go. So order set B is a copy of order set A. So even 100 shares there. All right, so we're done with that. But yeah, number 2 is done. So let's move on to number 3. So order C. There we go. So now we have a 10 ATR profit target, and we still have a 10 tick stop loss. All right, so let's do this. Let's make a copy of B. So the stop loss is 10 ticks. All we have to do is go in and adjust our profit target. So I can actually delete the profit target and go and select the 2 ATR from the quick list there, right? And then open this up, go into the initial placement, and then, so when you're using an indicator, right, to calculate the offset, then you're not using a tick-based offset anymore. Instead, you're using a factor. You're factoring your indicator, right? So we're multiplying the ATR times some factor. So we'll just up this to 10, and there we go. There is our 10 ATR, and it does say a 20 ATR. Yeah. So if you want to adjust the ATR period, then we can open up the indicator, the ATR indicator there, right? And then you can see here's the period for that ATR. So, right. So in any case, switching it to a 10 ATR, there we go, piece of cake. We're done there. So now order D, our last one here, is a 20 ATR. And again, a 10 tick stop loss. So let's go and make a copy of C. There. So D is a 10 ATR profit target. So let's open that up, open up the initial placement, and then we just go and adjust the factor here. Just bump that up to 20, and we're good. There we go. And that's it. So that is setting up all the different order sets there, 1 through 4. And so now we can add in that conditional 3 ATR stop loss trailing there. All right. So let's go into D. And there are several videos on this topic of basically, there's several videos of where you want to monitor one of the profit targets, and once one of those profit targets get hit, then convert your stop loss into some kind of trailing, give it some kind of trailing behavior or something like that. So, this is covered in several past workshop videos. So, but we'll just go through it again here. All right, so for the stop loss, we're on the trailing actions tab, and we need to create a custom trailing rule here. So let's add a trailing rule. Right, and so let's give this a name. All right, so we're going to invoke a 3 ATR trailing when profit target C is hit. So what is the trigger condition here? That triggers this trailing rule, right? It's the profit target being hit. So from our list of triggers, we want to monitor when an order status has changed. And so the order that we want to monitor is going to be down here. So under C, right? So we could monitor the entry order, we could monitor the stop loss, or we could monitor the profit target. So that profit target for C is what we want. And then what are we monitoring for? Well, it's not the placement. It is if any of those profit target contracts are filled. Probably if any of them are filled. You could say, well, wait till they're all filled if you want, but if a partial fill is good enough, then we can put it on any filled, like so. Right, so that is the key condition here that we're looking for. And then what is the action? So the action is now we're going to start trailing or moving the order 2, and this is where we set up that 3 ATR offset. All right, so from the last price, we want to calculate an offset based in ATRs. So I do need to load in the ATR indicator. Oh, there it is. Where'd it go? There. All right, load in the ATR indicator, and if you still want to keep the same, ATR period, there we can adjust it to 20 if we want. Oh, hold on. There we go. So there's in the offset section, right, we're using the ATR to calculate an offset, and then so for the long factor, we want, I'm thinking profit target. There we go. Just 3 ATRs. There we go. So again, stop losses for a long trade are going to be a negative value. So there you go, negative 3 ATRs. All right, and that does it for the action. Now, this is to be a continuous 3 ATR trailing. So this time we need to go into the repeat and set this up so that this trailing rule repeats indefinitely, right? So in other words, so actually, let's see here. So yeah, we're going to switch this to, instead of repeating once per bar, or maybe you want to, maybe you want a little slower moving stop loss where you only want your stop loss to update after the bar closes. But to me, I'm going to assume that this trailing stop loss should move on a tick by tick basis. So we're going to scroll up here. There we go. So we want ticks of movement in a profitable direction. Let's stretch that out. There we go. So for every one tick that the market moves, right, then the stop loss order will be adjusted, 3 ATRs right below that high point that the market just made. So, all right, so that does it for that trailing stop loss. And then lastly, we actually have a kind of a separate rule here. So actually, yeah, this could be considered, this is a separate rule here, right? Exit 30 seconds before the market closes. So for that, we're going to go into the scheduling, and let's turn the scheduling on. The force trades to exit, and it's already set to 30 seconds before the session ends, right? Now, if you want it 30 seconds after the market closes, instead of 30 seconds before the market closes, you can just simply put a negative value in there. So a negative value would be seconds after the session end. So, but let's just leave it there as a positive 30. And so let's put in the session end. So to do that, let's use the U.S. equities RTH. There we go. So there you go. So from 9:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern time, right? So those times are set to Eastern time, and simply put, these session templates, these come from NinjaTrader, right? These are a part of NinjaTrader's session templates. So if you create your own custom, actually they call them trading out. I think trading hours now. So if you create your own custom template here for trading hours, you can select that as well if you want. So there you have it.